Hi friends, in our time together today, I'm introducing another octave jump exercise, but really to show us why this is so important, because I'm also going to show us from specific tunes why this is important for us to learn to transition and jump from one octave to the other. In a previous video, we talked about learning to play the second octave, and I introduced an octave jump that was from the lower to the upper octave, where you're simply going to walk up the scale and you're going to switch between octaves. And this is really helpful. I'm going to actually introduce another exercise that's a little more challenging for us today before I give us specific examples from tunes as to why this is so important for us to learn. In that previous video, I didn't just talk about learning to play into the second octave. See, my main concern is for us to learn to play smoothly from one note to another. And that includes, as that conversation went, that includes being able to cleanly transition from one octave to the next. It's also important for us to learn to hear the notes we play and see what we think the tone quality sounds like, and to be able to play those notes in tune. It's not so important for us at first to do this quickly. It's important for us to do it well. And once we do it well, we can then pick up the pace and start doing it, playing more quickly. So I showed you what the first exercise was. Play a low note, just jump to the high octave and play as high as you can. And I'd like, if possible, for you to be able to play all the way to that third octave D. I know it's different on one whistle to another, and if you're a beginner player, you're going to say, Scott, it's impossible to play above the second octave G. I get it. I've been there. So patience, patience, patience is what I was hammering in the first video, and I'll just repeat it today. Give yourself time. But in order to get there, you've got to keep working at it. So I'm going to reverse today's exercise. I'm going to reverse the previous one. And what I want us to do is to play the upper octave note and then jump to the lower octave note. And I've talked about the third octave D, so this is going to be a little crazy. So you start on the upper octave note and you jump to the lower octave note. Here it is. I'll stand so you can see. An example is of the G. I'll play the second octave G and then the lower octave G. Okay, seems simple, but it's really helpful. It's important to be able to do. So I'm gonna start with the third octave D, go to the second octave D, and then the lower octave D. It doesn't always work for me, but it often does. Again, patience, 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 persistence, persistence, persistence. You'll get there, and it may take a few months. It's okay. Just keep stumbling until you're able to walk into it. So I'm going to start it off from the third octave D to the second octave D to the bottom D. Now, this is when you need to think, because we're walking down, not up. D, then you go to the C sharp, because I'm doing the D scale. And when you go to the C sharp, the easiest way to play the C sharp in the second octave is holes 4, 5, and 6 covered. So then you're going to cover and uncover for the second octave C sharp and the first octave C sharp. B, A. Okay, I think you get the point. This is a really helpful exercise. And like me, you're probably going to have to think while you're doing it. Okay, D, C sharp under that. So, and remember the fingering chart. I guess I should put a link to the fingering chart in the notes to this video. I'll do that. And I'll put a link to the previous video as well at the end of this video in a card at the top. Now, if you nail that exercise, I've got a more challenging one for us. So start with the lower octave, play for example, the low D, then play the octave above, and then bounce off of that low note and play every second octave note. This would be how it goes. Okay, and then walk all the way up. You don't have to walk back down. Then start on the next note. Now this might mess with your head a bit, but play the first octave E, and then go to the second octave D, E, and then walk up like this. Okay? And then do that, just walk up the lower scale and then walk and bounce off that note and do the second octave. What we're learning to do is we're learning to be comfortable on our whistles, playing every note throughout the whistle. Now, this is not just a random exercise. The reason I want us to learn to be comfortable is because you're going to experience this in tunes. You're going to have tunes where you have to jump from the first octave to an octave above, or you have to jump from the octave above to the first octave, and maybe even a further stretch or a close to stretch. So here are just 5 examples. In the tune, Shibeg Shimor, we have a number of different transition points, but one of them is that we have to play there are a couple instances. There is in the A part, you have to play the first octave D, and then you have to go right to the second octave E. That's above an octave jump. Okay? Then in that same tune, you have to go in the B part from the first octave D to the second octave F. So that's why it's so important to become comfortable with these tunes, with this exercise. Return from Fingal. As you're transitioning from the A part to the B part, you have to play the first octave E and then the second octave F sharp. Okay? And I'm not playing them in the rhythm of the tunes, just demonstrating those jumps. And then in the road to Listunvarna, we've got to jump. Wow, there are all kinds of different ones there. Well, not all kinds, sorry. The transition from the A part to the B part, again, it's a full octave jump, E to E. So comfort, we need to be comfortable doing this. 2 more. In the Rights of Man, that hornpipe, you've got at the end of the A part, you've got to jump from the second octave E to the first octave E. So again, comfort, comfort, comfort with doing this. Last example, and you could look through the tunes, and this is crazy all over the place. The gravel walks. This one, you're just bouncing. So I won't play it at pace, but transitioning into the B part, you've got to be able to go from the low A, the low octave A, to the high octave A, to the low octave A, to the second octave G, to the first octave A, to the second octave F. That's why I gave you that advanced exercise, because we're practicing the very skills we need to play well. Okay? Except you're going to have to learn to play that faster. So that's why this is so, so, so very important for us. So my friends, try this exercise out. Work on it because we're developing skills in our practice that enable us to play well and play easily and freely when we see these patterns in the tunes we play. So I hope, well, again, I know these scale jump exercises will be very beneficial for you because you experience it in so many tunes. Until next time, my friends, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling!